Hello and welcome to a brand new channel on YouTube called FootyBros. Just two guys going to chat football, chat a load of rubbish, and have a bit of fun. So my name's John Luke, and this is.
My name's Kieran.
So I'm a Man City fan, so quite used to winning things at the moment. What about you, Kieran?
I'm an Arsenal fan, not used to winning much apart from the FA Cup. That's why I'm wearing the FA Cup one.
The FA Cup merchants.
So in today's video, we are doing a one transfer for one club. So for example, we're going to go through all the Premier League teams and we're going to discuss a transfer for each club. Do a little bit of discussion on each club and then come to a conclusion based on the two players that we have chosen.
If you agree or disagree, leave a comment down below, get involved. So yeah, it's not going to be the perfect player because we don't know each club in and out. But yeah, we're going to do the best to our ability.
So, starting off with the first club, Arsenal. Being an Arsenal fan, obviously I know what we need, and I do believe this guy I'm going to tell you that I think Arsenal should sign is a perfect fit. Ever since we have lost Mesut Ozil, we have missed a creative midfielder, a number 10 or a number 11, or number 8 in fact. We've never really had an attacking midfielder who has the killing ball. So today I've gone with James Maddison. I think he's been heavily linked with Arsenal. What are you laughing at, John?
I went with Maddison as well. Yeah, I got Maddison down as well. We've not spoken about this before, and we've gone away and did our own research. I've gone with Maddison as well. I think he'd be a good signing. Obviously, they couldn't get Grealish, so they have to get the next best thing. You see.
Well, at least
yeah, he's a top player. He's a top player. Yeah. Really good.
And he's English as well, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, he's really well spoken as well in his interviews and stuff. Really, he's got a good head on his shoulders. Yeah, it'd be a really good signing.
So hopefully Arsenal can push that one through. It's looking at about 50 to 60 million, but I think Arsenal are preparing at the moment a £40 million bid plus a player.
So next club on the list is Aston Villa. Personally, I have gone for Leon Bailey, who they're quite heavily linked with at the moment. It looks like Kieran has. Judging by Kieran's reaction, it does look like he's gone for him as well. But he's a really good attacker, played for Leverkusen. He's got some incredible goals, actually, that I've seen in the past. So yeah, Leon's a really, really strong attacker. He's 23 years old. He's got a lot of potential, and he's been doing really well in the Bundesliga. So I think that'd be perfect for Villa, especially with them possibly losing Grealish. This is being recorded on the 28th of July, and he's heavily linked this morning that he could be going through in the next couple of days. So they will have the money to spend, and it'd be a really good replacement for Grealish. Link up with Buendia. They're looking at about £30 million for that player. And if he was English, you'd probably be looking at like 50, 60, 70 million. Because that's how the world works.
I have also gone with Leon Bailey.
Shock.
I think he would be a perfect replacement if Jack Grealish was to go. Like you said, his speed, he's got incredible ball control. He's got really good agility as well. And I think if they do lose Jack Grealish to Man City, which is looking ever increasingly likely, I think Leon Bailey would be a perfect replacement. So next we have Brentford, the newly promoted Brentford, and I've gone for somebody close to my club, very close to my club in fact. He does play for Arsenal and he's been linked quite a few times recently, and I don't think he's getting much of a looking at Arsenal, and that is Reiss Nelson. I think Reiss Nelson would be, I think it's doable. I think he would link quite well with Ivan Toney. And I do think it's probably best for Reiss Nelson, being an Englishman as well, to find a new club. He's simply not getting enough game time at Arsenal, and he has the qualities there. So with a club like Brentford, newly promoted, they should be looking at a player like Reiss Nelson in my eyes.
Right, I've gone with a similar type of player. I've gone for Will Hughes at Watford. He's looking at a move away from Watford due to his contract situation. There is a few other clubs linked with him in the Premier League, which might entice him a little bit more. But Brentford have got most of their business done already. So it's kind of one of those that might not happen, but would be a good signing. He can slot in midfield or out on the wing. So we'll go with Will Hughes on that one. Pretty proven. And yeah, I think he'd slot in quite nicely.
Let us know down in the comment section below, because it's the first time we've had a split decision, Reiss Nelson or Will Hughes. I'm sticking with Reiss Nelson.
I'll probably go with Reiss Nelson as well. So the next club on the list is Brighton and Hove Albion. The team with a really high XG and just can't put the goals in the net. So I've gone with Liam Delap, which is Rory Delap's son, who plays for the City Academy. He's been heavily linked with loans across the Championship all summer. Pep and City have come out and said he's not available because they want to keep him in and around the squad, similar to like Foden's first season, implementing him here and there. But he's a powerful striker, got an eye for a goal. I think he was the top scorer in the Premier League too. He's got the highest goal tally in the history of Premier League 2 in one season, last season. So he's a bit of a killer in front of goal. Bit of a hothead, gets the odd red card. He's quite an aggressive player. But I think he'd suit Brighton really well. One of those players that just get in there, get the goals, and take chances that they really need to do.
So you went for a striker and I went for a defender, because obviously Ben White is looking more and more increasingly going to Arsenal. They're going to have 50 mil to spend on a defender, and I went for a Mönchengladbach defender, Oscar Wendt. He was outstanding in the Euros for Sweden, and I do just think he would be the perfect replacement for Ben White. He can play on the left centre half, or he can play left back as well. So he's quite versatile across the back line. And I just think, you're going to lose a decent player in Ben White. I think you kind of need to replace them. But that's just my point of view.
Yeah, they definitely need to sign a centre-half, but I definitely think they need to go out and get a striker as well. Like you say, they'll have the money to spend, so the lap would be on a loan.
So again, another split decision, so let us know down in the comment section who you would think would more likely go. Oscar Wendt from Mönchengladbach or Delap from City's Academy. So the next team on the list is Burnley, managed by Sean Dyche, and I've gone for another Arsenal player who can't quite make it into the team at Arsenal, so I think he'd be perfect for Burnley. Get his name out there a bit more. Another English player, can play at the right hand side of defence and can play centre midfield. I've gone for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I think he'd be a perfect candidate for Sean Dyche. He's a very versatile player. Like I said, he can play across the back four and he can play in the centre holding midfield. Just think he's a very versatile player and somebody that Burnley really could turn into a really good player. But if he went to Burnley, I think he could be one of them players that Arsenal fans look back on and think, why on earth did we sell him?
Yeah, and I've gone with exactly the same player. I've gone with Maitland-Niles as well. Like you say, versatile, can play in a number of roles, so he can kind of cover in like a squad role position as well. Right back, left back, centre mid. And even though I think he'd look weird in the Burnley colours, I don't think he'd suit Burnley, really. Because he was at West Brom, weren't he, towards the end of last season, and he did quite a good job there. But yeah, it just seems like he is too good for Burnley, but I think Burnley is where he could go, kind of rebuild his career, and maybe use him as a stepping stone again.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we agree on the same player. Great minds think alike.
So the next club on the list is Chelsea. So Chelsea obviously beat City in the Champions League final last year. They've done really well under Tuchel since he's came over. So they don't need to sign a bagload of players. They've got quite a lot of good talent, young talent. Havertz, Werner. Well, maybe not Werner, but Havertz. But I've gone with a centre half, strongly linked this morning in Jules Koundé from Sevilla. They're looking at a centre-half, and Chelsea are literally ready in a bid as we speak, about 40, 50 million. Koundé has already come out and said he's open to the move. Sevilla probably do need the money, and he's a quality player. City were looking at him, when we was looking at Diaz. I'm happy we did get Diaz in the end over Koundé. Koundé is a very, very good talent, young centre-half, and a lot of potential.
Okay, again, I went from the other half of the pitch. I went for a striker. Obviously, they've been linked very heavily with Haaland. I don't think Haaland will go this summer, but then they will also been linked with the Polish striker Lewandowski. So I've gone for Lewandowski because they are, for some reason, in the market for a striker, potentially losing Tammy Abraham as well. And it's Tammy Abraham's going for an extortion amount of money, really. 40 odd million they're going to get for Tammy Abraham. So they can use that money to go against Lewandowski maybe, or maybe even push for that Haaland. But I just think Lewandowski is more of a player that Tuchel wants, simply because I don't think they're going to be able to afford Haaland just quite yet. Maybe next season if they're still looking for a striker. But listening to your centre-half thingy, I think you've persuaded me, John.
Well, I think they are in for a striker. They can get Lewandowski on a cheap. I'm sure they will do. He's like 33 now. But yeah, they're definitely in for Koundé. They probably will sign him. So kind of my transfer targets on this are quite ones that possibly could happen for the majority of them. But like you say, Haaland, next summer, his release clause is a lot less. It's like 80 million euros. So it's a lot more affordable for a lot of teams. It's just going to go down to the wages. I'm sure City, Chelsea, United, Madrid, Barcelona, I think they'll all be in next summer. If he doesn't move this summer, they'll all be there next summer. Especially if he has a good season. If he, does his, if he does, his ACL or something next week, then it might be a totally different story for Haaland, but hopefully he kicks on, has a really good season, and then it's just even bigger transfer prospect for next summer.
So the next club on the list is Crystal Palace, and I've gone for a centre half because looking at Palace's defence, it is an ageing defence. They need a new, young, talented centre half, and I've gone with Jurgen Timber from Utrecht, probably more known for his fantastic Euro 2020. He had an incredible 2020, scoring 2 goals as a centre-half, sort of playing on the right-hand side. So I think he would be a perfect candidate for the new manager over at Crystal Palace. Personally, Timber, for me, is got all the attributes that a Premier League centre-half should have. He's quick, he's strong, he's direct, and he likes to get involved in goals. Like I said again, his Euros performance was absolutely outstanding, and I just think he would be a perfect replacement for somebody like Gary Cahill, who's getting a little bit old now. And it's fresh, he's young, and he's got great ideas.
I like the sound of it, but I've got a better choice. I've gone for Anderson. He was on loan at Fulham last year alongside Tosin Adarabioyo at centre half. Really good player, centre half as well. So yeah, that's the one I've gone for. Same as you said with a centre back, but I've just gone for a kind of different type of player. He had a year in the Premier League last year, and I think he's got good talent, young player, just what Crystal Palace need. So the next club that we've got is Everton. I personally have gone for Dwight McNeil from Burnley. He's been heavily linked with Everton at the moment from Burnley, looking at about 25 to 30 million pound. With Everton signings this summer, they felt a little bit lackluster. So this Dwight McNeil deal kind of fits the narrative. That is, not really inspiring, but he's a good player, good young player, and I just think with the new manager coming in, Rafa, he's just kind of steadying the ship, rebuilding and changing the team up, getting the egos out the door. So I think it'd be a decent signing. Not really too much to say about it. He has been heavily linked with them, though.
I have also gone for a winger, but I've gone a bit more ambitious. I have had a look in the transfer rumours, and Rafa is a massive fan of Wilfried Zaha. Probably a little bit out of the price range, but I know Rafa does like him. And with letting Bernard go, they are definitely in the market for another winger. Bernard obviously being the speedy Brazilian, I still think they're going to need at least another proven player, and I think Zaha would fit the bill. It could be a little bit out of their price range in all honesty, but if they were to sort of sell more players in the transfers like they are willing to do, like John just said, Rafa's trying to steady the ship, get rid of the people that he doesn't want, and buy the people that he does want, and I think Zaha would be perfect. Do I think Zaha would go away from Palace to Everton? I don't know. I'll leave that for you guys to leave a comment in the section below. So the next team on the list is Leeds. Leeds had a fantastic start back into the Premier League. I thought, finishing in the top half of the table, they did really, really well. I do think they need a little bit more experience, and with that, I have gone for Wendell Borges from Leverkusen. He is the left back. He's 28 years old, so he does bring a little bit of experience. He's a very strong player and a very, very quick player and very skillful on the left-hand side. I think him supplying a Patrick Bamford this season could be absolutely lethal.
Are you trying to take all of Leverkusen's players this year, Kieran? Or
I think they've got a good team. But
good choice. Very good choice. I have gone with Gallagher, who was on loan at West Brom last year. He's currently playing for Chelsea. He's had a new 5-year deal at Chelsea. He had a really good season at West Brom. unfortunately, they did get relegated. He's back at Chelsea now. He would be available on loan, maybe not a permanent signing, but he's a box-to-box midfielder, quite a gritty midfielder, but do all the dirty work. And I know you've got Calvin Phillips there as well at Leeds. He could play alongside him. He could play, if Calvin's injured or wants to rest him. But I think it'd be a good one to get in there for Leeds. So the next club on the list, we have got Leicester City. They just missed out on top four last season. Done that a couple of years on the bounce now, which is a bit of a shame for Brendan Rodgers. But they did get that FA Cup win, which is really good for them. I think they're going to change it up this year. So with Leicester possibly losing Maddison, like we mentioned earlier in the video, I have gone with Pereira, who's at West Brom. He had a really good season last season. Obviously, they've gone down, so he possibly could be available. He's Premier League proven. I seem to remember he scored a good couple of goals at Stamford Bridge when they turned Chelsea over. Pretty talented player, 25 years old, so a lot of possibilities going with that one. And I don't see him being too much, 20 to 30 million. I think West Brom would be happy to accept.
I've gone with a centre-half. I do like your choice there, John, but I've gone with Daniel Rugani from Juventus. He had a couple of good seasons recently. Don't think he played too much last season. He was heavily linked with Arsenal and, I believe, Chelsea 2 seasons ago. So he's hitting the right sort of calibre of teams, and I think he'd be perfect for Leicester, with Brendan Rodgers liking to play in that 3 at the back. So I just think having him with Soyuncu and Fofana, I think that would be an absolute solid centre-half. Them 3 playing with wing-backs, I think Leicester are going to be hard to beat this season, I really do.
Yeah, that'd be a quality backline.
So, we now move on to Liverpool. I have gone for a English centre defensive midfielders. Had a cracking tournament at the Euros. Not Declan Rice, but I've gone for Calvin Phillips. Why have I gone for Calvin Phillips? Well, he has been linked recently with Liverpool. And I think with his performance with the Euros, I think that's really, really impressed their manager. I think he'll be a great replacement, obviously them losing Wijnaldum, and I think Calvin Phillips has proven on the Euro stage that he could be a box-to-box player, not just a centre defensive midfielder like he is for Leeds. I think if he was under Klopp, he would have a bit more freedom to go up and down the pitch, box-to-box, and he's proven that on the Euros that he can do that. I think Klopp really does like him.
Good choice there, Kieran. I have gone with a similar type of player with the Leon midfielder AOR or something like that. We don't know how to say it. I don't think anyone knows how to say it. AOUAR. It's quite a random one, but he's a really talented player, young central midfielder. More of a number 8 rather than a box to box. Maybe a bit more of a Mason Mount, a little bit further forward. But a really talented player. He doesn't look like he's going to cost too much as well, because he is running his contract down quite a bit. City have been linked with him for a couple of years now. I think Arsenal have as well as Liverpool. So I think that'd be a nice signing, especially with things up in the air about Henderson at the moment. And Thiago's not set Anfield on fire as yet. So yeah, I think there's a possibility there for the Leon midfielder. I won't mention his name again.
Awa. I don't know.
Awa.
Awa.
Awa. So next team is my beloved Manchester City. I have gone with Harry Kane. Reason being, we are missing a striker. Aguero has left. Jesus as well. He is a really good player, but he's never really been that man to fill Aguero's boots. Jesus has been linked with a move away to Juventus, as well as could be playing out on the left or right, depending if we do sign Jack Grealish also. So yeah, I think Harry Kane obviously is the perfect replacement. Could go with Lukaku, could go with Haaland. But I think Kane's the one that's been the most heavily linked. Kane wants out. He wants to win trophies. It seems like the most obvious transfer for City this season, and probably the most likely, other than Jack Grealish. In terms of funds, we can spend a little, but then we're looking at actually selling quite a lot of players as well. As I said, Jesus, looking at about 50 million to 60 on that. Bernardo Silva's been linked with Atletico Madrid, talking 60 to 70 for Bernardo as well. As we've sold a lot of fringe players that have come through the academy and loan players, so Jack Harrison to Leeds, and some other little gems as well. So in total, we've sold about 6 or 7 outsider players that you probably won't know about. We've actually recouped about 80 to 90 million already this summer.
Interesting choice, John. I have also gone for Harry Kane. I think he is he's the most talked about player going to Man City in my eyes, and I think he'd be a perfect replacement for Aguero. I think Jesus is good enough to play. I just don't think he's good enough to lead the line for a club like Manchester City. I think he could be used as a support striker with Kane potentially, or like you said, used on the left depending on what you're doing with Jack Grealish. If you're getting rid of Sterling, or there's a lot of things happening at Man City, but not happening as such. If that makes any sense, but I think Kane is probably your number one target, and I would completely agree with that.
I think just to go back on the point of not much is happening, I just think the Kane and Grealish deals are so complicated that it's just going to take its time. It's not one of those that you can just get done overnight. Similar to the Sancho deal with Dortmund, it took an extra 12 months for United to get it over the line. Hopefully City will be able to get one or two, for sure. But other than them two, City won't be doing any more business.
So going across the pond, we are off to Manchester United. I've gone for Rafael Varane. He's heavily linked, incredibly heavily linked with Sky Sports at the moment. And I think Ollie is trying to find a perfect partnership to go alongside Maguire. I don't think Lindelof is making the cut for Ollie. So he's gone out and said, look, I want to buy another centre-half. They've pulled out a Real Madrid. He's young. He's got a hell of a lot of experience for his age. And I think Rafael Varane would be the perfect player alongside Maguire. He's got a little bit more pace, so he can do a little bit more recovery runs. He's tall, he's quick, and he's also very strong as well. I think Varane is the perfect, again, another perfect player, and I'm just happy to see him potentially coming into the Premier League, to be honest.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. Agree with the need for a centre half. Like Bailly and Lindelof pick up quite a few injuries, and they can never really get a partnership going with Maguire. However, I've switched it up a little bit and I've gone with a midfielder. I don't think it will happen, but I think it could be a possibility in the future, and I think it would be a good signing for United. I've gone for Declan Rice. Probably linked with United, City and Chelsea as the main three. Probably will hold off another year on his transfer. I think United are crying out for one player that can sit in front of the defence and do everything they need him to do, instead of having Fred and McTominay, which aren't really... It just takes up, you don't need the two there. You just need one exceptional talent in there. Then you can give Fernandes, Pogba the freedom to go and play, like Pogba does for France. So yeah, they just need that one player to sit in front of the defence, similar to like Fernandinho or Rodri, Kante, just to really, secure the midfield and then just let everyone just go and do what they want, kind of thing.
That would be a great signing, in all honesty. So let us know in the comment section below. Declan Rice or Rafael Varane?
So the next club on the list, we do have Newcastle. So for Newcastle, I have gone for Axel Tuanzebe. Strong centre-half / right back for Manchester United. He's not really going to get a look in with Maguire, with Varane possibly coming in, obviously Bailly and Lindelof as well. Got Wan-Bissaka, they've got some stronger options, as well as Brandon Williams at right back as well. So yeah, we're going with Tuanzebe. Obviously, I think United still want to hold on to him. It might be a loan deal. He's only a young lad. He's my age. I did actually play against Tuanzebe at school level. He's a bit of a beast. So yeah, I think he'd do really good at Newcastle. I think they just need someone to sit next to Lascelles and shore up that defence.
I've gone for a player that was loaned there towards the end of the last season, and that is Joe Willock. I know Steve Bruce is a massive fan of Joe Willock, and I do think, being an Arsenal fan, it is likely to happen. With Arteta buying 2 centre midfielders already this season, I just cannot see Joe Willock getting a look in. I think for Joe Willock, it would be a great move for him to go and establish himself at a good club. And, to be fair to Newcastle, they are quite a big club with a big stage and big history. And I do think Joe Willock is a player that can really help Newcastle in the future.
Yeah, it's a totally good call, that. I just didn't know whether he was going to be going back. But yeah, if they can get hold of him, that'd be awesome. I'm sure they'll appreciate that, especially with all the goals he's been scoring. I think he's on the road to actually breaking Jamie Vardy's record of consecutive goals. So if he goes back, I think he's only like 4 or 5 games off breaking that.
He's a good player. He's a good player. He's always been a good player. Again, it's just
development, isn't it? It's a couple of years. He probably needs, to break into the Arsenal side.
So moving on swiftly is now Norwich. Newly promoted Norwich. They were in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago. Now they are back and they are looking to stay. With that in mind, I've gone ambitious and I've gone for Matheus Pereira, who has been linked with Leicester City, like John has said during the Leicester's chat. And I think it could be doable if Norwich can sort of get a little bit more funds. Obviously, they've got £33 million for Buendia. They could just do with a couple of extra millions, because I don't think Matheus Pereira is going to go on the cheap. That being said, I still think he would be a perfect option for Norwich. Obviously, losing Buendia to Aston Villa, they are going to be looking for a player like Buendia, and I think Matheus Pereira fits that bill perfectly and hopefully can help Norwich stay up this season.
All right, so for my Norwich pick, I have gone with Fabian Delph. Totally out of favour at Everton at the moment, and I'm sure Norwich coming back up will want a little bit of experience. You know, I think a lot of the players that are in Norwich at the minute, as you know, some were here when they was last in the Premier League, but they came up and they shot straight back down. They've not really got a positive Premier League experience. Fabian Delph is available. He's a Premier League winner. You know, he's been in the Premier League for 10, 12, 14 years now. So yeah, I think he'll do really well for Norwich. I'm sure he could show up the midfield, add a little bit of experience, and I'm sure Delia Smith would appreciate him helping them stay up. So the next club on the list are Southampton. Kind of a mid-table to bottom half Premier League side in the last couple of years. They've not been too great. Obviously got Danny Ings up front. They are a strong side. They should stay up. You know, they keep Danny Ings fit. Who I think they should bring in is a bit more creativity. I've gone with Todd Cantwell from Norwich. Got the beautiful long blonde locks. You know, makes the side a little bit more attractive to look at. And I think he's a quality footballer. He's not really had the chance in the Premier League yet. Obviously, had one season with Norwich. He's come up with them again. You know, so he could play with them again. But he was touted to be, you know, a very highly rated player. Kind of not in the Maddison and Grealish bracket, but, you know, kind of like the one below. He was kind of, you know, linked with, you know, to be honest, better clubs than Southampton at the time. So yeah, he's been grafting away in the Championship, comes back up. Probably will stay at Norwich and hopefully, you know, try and keep them up. But I think he would benefit the Southampton side, who need a little bit more creativity feeding Ings up front.
That's very interesting. So I've gone for Divock Origi simply because I think Danny Ings is looking to sort of further his development, and I will leave that. I'll come on to that a bit later. So I've gone Divock Origi simply because he can't get into the Liverpool team, and he's still a very good striker. And I think Southampton potentially losing Danny Ings, I think Divock Origi would do a very similar job as Danny Ings. Very good in the air, very quick and very direct. And I just think he would be the perfect player, potentially, if they do lose Danny Ings.
So yeah, good shout there. I hope they don't sell Ings because, you know, City have been linked with him. I hope we don't get him, to be honest. But yeah, I think they'd both be good signings for Southampton anyway.
Yeah, I think Southampton are a good, solid team, and I think they do attract some good players. They've always attracted the players because they've always been in the Premier League for a very long time, and they've got a very good youth development as well.
Got a lovely kit this season as well. Nice kit.
So, moving to North London, we're off to Tottenham Hotspurs with a brand new manager, Nuno. Nuno has been linked with potentially the transfer of Danny Ings. So I've gone for Danny Ings, potentially because obviously City are interested in Harry Kane and they're going to have to replace him with a striker. And Danny Ings, in my eyes, has been a very, very respectable striker in the last 3 years. For sure, he's been banging goals left, right and centre. I think he scored over 18 goals for Southampton last season, and I think the season before that he also scored nearly 20 plus goals. So he's a proven goal scorer, a proven Premier League player, and if Harry Kane was to leave the club for Man City, I think Danny Ings would be potentially one to look for.
Good shout. I have also gone with a striker as well. Obviously, if Harry Kane does depart to the best club in Manchester, you're going to have to replace him. So I've gone with Eintracht Frankfurt's Andre Silva. He's a Portuguese striker. He scored 25 goals in the Bundesliga last year. He scored more goals in the league than Erling Haaland, but no one really talks about that. He's only been outscored by Robert Lewandowski. So yeah, 25 goals, 25 years old as well. Got plenty of time left in his career. He did a really good job. City have been heavily linked with him as well. Maybe it doesn't really work out with like Haaland, Kane, Lukaku. He's kind of the next bracket down. So yes, if City, if City are after him, Tottenham would definitely snap him up, and I think he'd do a really good job there as well. Heung-min Son's just signed a new deal. They've got some really good talent going forward, and I'm sure he'd slot in there nicely. So the next club, is it the last club, Kieran? I'm not sure. It's not the last club.
No, it's not the
There's a
last,
couple of W's on the go, isn't there? A
there's a
couple of
few,
W's. So the next club is Watford, the Hornets, the GoPro in goal, the Ben Foster FC. Everyone's got a little bit of a soft spot for Watford now. Everyone watches Ben Foster on YouTube. But I've gone with Lamina. He's a centre midfielder for Southampton. Not really getting any game time at Southampton. And I think Watford just need a little bit more going in midfield. Especially they got rid of Capoue last season. They've got a couple of strong players in there. But I think a little bit more Premier League experience in Lamina. Gets about the pitch and he's a really good player.
That's a great shout from you, John Luke. I have gone for Mario Lamina too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mario Lamina.
Right.
Heavily linked again, and I think, like you said, losing Capoue, I think they need a Premier League proven player, and Southampton have a very good player in Lamina. He is a very underrated player, in my opinion. Mario Lamina would be perfect, and if they were to get Mario Lamina, I think they could stay up this year.
Yeah, I reckon they could. Andre Gray, Big Troy Deeney, Ismail Sarr. I think they've got some good players in there. Got a lovely kit as well.
They love a lovely kit.
Yeah, love a lovely kit. Could stay up.
So, the penultimate team is West Ham, and I've gone for a striker. Simply because if they do lose Mikel Antonio, then they don't have another central striker. I don't think. They have been linked alongside Arsenal for this player. So if Arsenal were to buy him, I think West Ham would, even though West Ham did finish above Arsenal last season, but we will forget that. Tammy Abraham is the player I've gone for. Slightly, probably pushing the most expensive signing that they would have to buy, to be honest, because 40 million is a lot of money for any club, but I think West Ham have that stadium. They've got a bit. West Ham aren't a small club anymore. West Ham had a fantastic season, and I can see them attracting a player like Tammy Abraham. Tammy Abraham actually scored the same amount of goals as Werner last season in 10 less games. So Abraham is a very, very underrated player. Everyone bangs on about Werner. I'm so shocked that they're even letting Tammy Abraham go and talk to clubs. I think he's a cracking player, English, and he'd be phenomenal at a team like West Ham.
Really good shout. Really good shout. Like you say, Antonio is quite injury prone. He's getting on a little bit, so he probably won't be able to fulfill the 38 games during the season. So they will need another striker. Just a quick thing on West Ham's home kit. Not fan. They've got a collar. Never a fan of collars. Yeah. But the striker is a little bit less desirable than Tammy Abraham. He's been linked a little bit. Probably won't happen, but I've gone with Chris Wood from Burnley. He's Premier League proven. Scores the odd goal here and there. He's not amazing. West Ham fans won't get too excited about signing Chris Wood. But balls into the box, he will score goals. Antonio will be the first choice. Tammy Abraham would definitely, be more desired over Chris Wood. But there's always that possibility, but he could, keep that claret and blue top on, just switch over down to London.
I could see Chris Wood in a West Ham shirt. Could I see Tammy Abraham in a West Ham shirt? Probably not, but you've got to aim high. I
want to see him in the Arsenal shirt. Yeah, really. I think Tammy definitely deserves a shot. To be honest, I was going to say at a big club, but I think West Ham, still at quite a big size as well. So even if he went to West Ham, it's just with West Ham now, it's a little bit annoying that they're going to, might not get Lingard back again. Mm-hmm. So it kind of disjoints that team a little bit. So I do hope West Ham kick on this season, but it's going to be a tough one.
That's a big loss as well if they can't get Lingard back. That's a huge loss. I think Ollie's keen to keep Lingard this year at United. So West Ham,
he's just scored in a pre-season game, so he's looking like he's involved. Could do a job back at United.
Mm-hmm. We'll have to wait and see.
We will. Okay, so the final team in this video is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Had a bit of a tough season last season. Obviously, they lost Jimenez up front with the head collision. Nuno couldn't really get it going after that. They couldn't really score too much, and I think they kind of lost the rhythm going forward into the season without Jimenez up front. So what we've gone for this time round is Rafael Leao from AC Milan. Really talented forward, probably available for around about £30 million, and there's a good few Premier League clubs linked with this player. But at 22 years old, he does look like a top prospect that could not fill the boots of Jimenez, play alongside him possibly, and fill in when he is not playing. But hopefully, yeah, Wolves can get it going again this season with a new manager in charge.
So, I've gone for a goalkeeper. This is the first goalkeeper we have chosen in this video, which is it's incredible, really, when you think about it. I've gone for Neto. Plays for Barcelona at the moment. He's not getting a sniffing at all. Neto has been linked to a move to the Premier League with the likes of Arsenal and Wolves both interested. I think I would be personally happy with him at Arsenal, but I think he will probably go to Wolves because Wolves look like they need a number one keeper, and I think Neto would be fantastic. He's a Brazilian goalkeeper, so you don't really get to see much of him because Brazil goalkeepers are phenomenal. You've got Alisson, and you've got a few others, and Neto sort of is the third keeper for Brazil. Edison. And then you've got Neto. So, you know, Brazil have got some really good goalkeepers. I think Neto at Wolves would be incredible. Just to get his name up there again, I think Neto, I think he's like 32, so he's got a bit of experience. And with losing Rui Patricio as well, I mean, they're going to need a decent keeper because losing Rui Patricio is a disaster.
Yeah, another Portuguese that they're losing as well. You know, the Portuguese heart. You know, the talk of Ruben Neves leaving as well, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I think it's a good shout. That, like you said about Arsenal, they're looking at that young lad from Sheffield United, aren't they? He looks.
Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy that video. Yes, Arsenal looking at Ramsdale for some of them just crazy things, but yeah.
It's 30 million quid, yeah.
Easy.
Casual. But yeah, it's been great. It's been a good little, taster video there. First one on the channel. We've got a couple lined up before the season starts. But before we do end it today, we've got the Premier League Fantasy League running as well.
Yeah, so in the banner there is a code. It is the official Premier League Fantasy Football. So all you have to do is join the league, and there's a code on the banner. Type that code in, and you will be entered in our little league we've got going. It's a bit of a casual league. We've got a few people already, and it's really popping. It's really nice. It's good to see. I think we've got about 7 or 8 people now. If we can reach, 15 by the time the season starts.
We can get 25 in.
25? Okay, we'll aim for 25.
Get involved. Be a bit of fun. And yeah, it's just that, it's good to get everyone involved. But yeah, if you have enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, hit subscribe if you are new around here. Obviously, this is the first video, so with the weeks and months that go on, the quality will improve. We'll get better at what we're doing. We should be getting some live streams going with the matches, the watch-alongs for the matches, so that'll be really exciting to do and chat with you guys. So yeah, hope you've all enjoyed.
We're running on fucking Leeds. Are we even on Leeds? No, we're not even on Leeds. We're on Leicester. It's hard, isn't it? Oh dear.
I need 30 seconds.
So the next Klopp Klopp. This is harder than you think, isn't it?
Forgot his first name. I was going to say Liam Gallagher.
When you said Gallagher, I thought Liam. I was like, Liam.